Hanh chẳng từng và toàn diện là bằng có đầy đủ công hạnh và tuệ giác, là bằng cả hòa tới một cách nhiệm màu, là bằng hiểu niệm mà chúng con đang hành trì là giới thân nguyên vẹn, là giới thân không bao giờ bị sức mẻ, là giới thân không bao giờ bị nhiễm ô, là giới thân không bao giờ bị tùy bên, là giới thân không bao giờ bị hỗn tạp, là giới thân được người thức giả người khen và hâm mộ, là giới thân có công năng bảo vệ tự do, là giới thân đưa tới sự không sợ hãi, là giới thân đưa tới chánh định, là giới thân đưa tới tuệ giác, là giới thân đưa tới giải thoát và hạnh phúc đời đời.
Good morning, dear Sangha. Today is July the 18th of the year 2005, and we are in the Hamlet during our summer opening. In Plum Village, there is a community consisting of monastics and lay people who live together as a family all year round. From time to time we have a retreat welcoming our friends from other countries. But the practice continues always with the permanent residents. And it is our desire to organize ourselves as a family where people are brothers and sisters of each other. Every day we have a chance to have breakfast together. No matter how busy you are, you have the opportunity to sit down and have breakfast with other members of the family, so that you can look at each other, you can smile at each other. At lunchtime, you also have the opportunity to sit down and have lunch together. You are expected to be there on time in order to share lunch. And every day we have a walking meditation. People walk together. Everyone is expected to come on time in order to do the walking together as a family, as an organism. So you feel that your brothers and your sisters are walking behind you, in front of you, on your left, on your right. You feel that you are in a family. You flow like a river. and you get the energy and the support you need. And then every day we have the chance to sit together. And you are expected to come to the sitting. And when you sit like that, you feel that you are a river, you are a family, you are a community. You don't feel lonely, you don't feel cut off, because you have so many brothers and sisters. And in the family there is a kind of hierarchy, which is very nice, because there is a senior teacher you call sư phụ or sư cha, it's a daddy teacher, or you have sư mẹ. Sư mẹ means mother teachers, and you have sư anh, a brother, big brother's teacher, sư chị, big sister's teacher, and each sư mẹ, each sư cha, each mother teacher has a number of younger sisters to take care of. She is a mentor of several mentees. A big sister may have 5 or 7, 9 sisters, younger sisters as mentees, and she played the role of a mentor. And each big brother has also a number of mentees, and each week they are supposed to sit together and talk to each other. And if the mentees have difficulties within, suffering within, and then that is a chance for them to tell their mentor. And each week you have to meet your mentees. You have a chance to come to your mentor and you sit down for 1 hour and a half or so. Even if you don't have any problem, even if you are happy, you come to see your mentor anyway, and you receive your mentees anyway, and you sit down, you enjoy tea together, or a cookie together. And it's very nice that we have the time to sit together as a mentees and mentor. And that is what we try to preserve in our family, in our community of practice. Because we know that out there in society, families, there are many families who do not have the chance to sit together and eat breakfast together, eat lunch together, and walk together, and looking at each other. And we want very much that our friends who come here to practice, when they go home, they go organize so that their family become a kind of practice community also. And they organize so that at least every day they have a chance to sit together, to eat together, to look at each other, and to have time to listen to each other. The younger brothers and sisters here, they love to listen to their big brothers and sisters telling the story of plum village many years ago. Because the plum village has been there for 25, 26 years. And there were many, their big brothers and sisters have a lot of things to tell to the younger brothers and sisters who have come later. And the younger sisters, the younger brothers, they love to sit with their mentor and listen to the old stories of plum village during the first 10 years. And by doing so, they build a brotherhood and sisterhood, which is very nourishing, which is very healing. And although the big brothers and big sisters have the duty to lead, to teach, to support the younger brothers and sisters. The younger brothers and sisters don't feel that they are oppressed, because they know that the big brothers and sisters who have a practice longer than them, longer than they do, would be able to help them. That is why they listen to their big brothers, older brothers, older sisters. And then the big brothers and sisters learn how to listen to the younger brothers and sisters, so that they can make better decisions for the Sangha, for the community to be happy. Each week we have a session of beginning anew. And people sit in a circle and they share with each other the joy and the difficulties they have had during the past week. And this practice is very healing, very nourishing. And everyone is expected to come. And they sit in a circle. And they take turn in order to express themselves. They like to put a pot of flower in the middle of the circle. And the one who wants to begin with may bow like this and stand up and come to the flower pot and take the flower and goes back to his or her place and sit down. And holding the flower like this, she or he will begin to tell of her or his happiness. Such a brother, such a sister has been kind to her. She is very grateful, and she has the chance to express her gratitude to other members of the Sangha. And expressing gratitude like that, she watered the seeds of happiness in everyone, including in herself. And then she may think of some of the unskillful things she has done during the past week. She may have said something that was not very kind. So that is time for her to apologize. Dear brother, dear sister, last week on Tuesday, I was not skillful enough in doing so, in saying so. I'm sorry. I guess that what I said, what I did not make any of you upset. I promise that from now on I will not repeat anything like that. So if she is able to say so, she is forgiven right away, and no one will hold anything against her anymore. She tried to undo the knots that she may have created in the mind, in the spirit of other people. You don't want to make other people unhappy, but because sometimes you are not mindful, you are not skillful, you create a knot of suffering in other people. So this is a chance for you to undo the knot, untie the knot in them. And this is a very healing practice. And then finally, if during the past week someone has hurt her, and then now she has a chance to express her suffering. Dear brothers and sisters, last week on Friday, my brother so and so has said this to me, and that makes me suffer, and I don't understand why he has said, he has made such a statement. I want to understand why he has said so. Maybe I suffer because I have a wrong perception about his intention. So in this, at this moment, I would like to express my suffering and would like to listen to him, so that I will understand, and that will help me to untie the knot that I still have in myself. So that is the session of beginning anew that we practice every week. First of all, is the first part of it is to water the flowers, telling your own happiness, your gratefulness. The second part is to apologize for the unskillful things that you have done. And the third part is to express your hurt, and would like to be informed, so that you may have a chance to transform your suffering with the help of other brothers and sisters in the community. It is always advisable to begin with the practice of flower watering. It means that you should congratulate other members of the community, thanking them for having made you happy. We call it flower watering. And you water the seed of happiness in everyone, including in yourself. And then you apologize. And if you do not suffer, you have not received any internal knot, means suffering, and then you don't have to express yourself. And then the person next to you may like to take turn in order to do the same thing. The next person will bow like this, and then you know that he wants to express himself. So you just hand the flower to him. When you have the flower in your hand, you are the one who speaks. And you have the duty of using loving speech while speaking. Loving speech. No blaming, no accusing, no judging. Using the kind of language that help other people to understand, to accept. Loving speech. And the rest of the community sit and practice deep listening. And they never cut the speech of the one who is speaking. When you do not hold the flower in your hand, you don't have the right to speak. You have only the right to listen. You listen deeply. And then when the flower is handed to you, you have the right to speak. But if you are not calm enough, if you still suffer a little bit too much, and then you might ask the community that you will prefer to wait until later. Because you must be sure that you are able to use loving speech. Otherwise, you create more suffering. And sometimes you think that this is a small thing that you can settle with that person later on, so you don't have to speak in a big group. So there are many ways in order for us to help each other to untie the knots that have been formed during the week. And after the session, everyone is free of internal knots, and everyone is happy. This is the practice of beginning anew in Plum Village. Every time we have a couple who get married here in Plum Village, the young couple always receive the teaching and the practice of beginning anew, because they have to do that every week. Even if they don't suffer, they have to sit down and practice once a week. This practice can be taken up by any family. We should organize so that the family will have a chance to sit together, so that the young people have a chance to speak out. They should also learn how to speak with loving kindness. They should be able to learn how to express their gratitude, their joy, their happiness. And they should also learn how to express their being sorry for not having been skillful. And then they should learn how to express their hurt also, not blaming, not judging, just tell other members of the family that they have suffered during the last week, and they want everyone to know about that and to help them how to stop suffering. There are many families where the father cannot talk to the son and the daughter. There are mothers who have no real communication with their sons and their daughter. And because of the lack of communication, there is no understanding and no happiness. And that is why you can learn this practice from Plum Village in order to improve the quality of life in our family. Especially the art of loving speech, the art of deep listening. Yesterday we learned about how to invite the bell. And this can be done at home. In the morning, the family can gather together and they may like to sit down together for a few minutes, just practicing the bell. One person is elected to be the bell master, and she or he will invite the bell 3 times for the whole family to practice mindful breathing and smiling. It does not take a long time, but to begin your day by mindful breathing and smiling is a very wonderful. And the young people may arrange so that there is a place in the house to practice sitting and listening to the bell. Maybe a corner in the house, maybe a room in the house that can be called the breathing room. A breathing room. In that room, you only need a bell, maybe a pot of flower, or a few cushions, so that everyone have a chance to sit beautifully, look in each other, and practice mindful breathing in and out to start your day. In the morning, we used to wish each other have a good day. But this is more than wishing. This is a start a day by breathing and smiling. We want to make it a good day and not just to wish each other a good day. And I have advised. I have suggested that to many friends that they set up a breathing room in their house. And every time we are not happy, every time we get upset, every time we get angry, frustrated, and then we remember that there is a breathing room in the house. And our mind think of the breathing room, and our feet begin to do walking meditation to the direction of the breathing room. It's very nice. When you get angry, when you get upset, you don't say anything, you don't blame anyone. You just go back to your in-breath and you walk slowly through the breathing room. And you open the door mindfully, you get in, you close the door mindfully, and you sit down. And you begin to invite the bell, and you practice mindful breathing 3 times. And if you need, you invite another time the bell, and you breathe in and out for 3 times until you get calm, until you are able to smile. This is a very wonderful practice that the young people can do. Everyone in the family can do. I think every civilized family should have a breathing room in their house, in order for us to take good care of ourselves, our nerves, our joy, our calm. Suppose mommy is sad, is angry, because daddy has just said something that is not very kind to her. Instead of starting to have a discussion, to quarrel with each other, the mother prefer to go to the breathing room in order to practice. and you are there doing your homework, and you hear the bell invited by your mother. You stop doing your homework, you practice mindful breathing in and out. And maybe your father is still in the house, and she hears the bell of mindfulness invited by your mother. He will also stop and breathe in and out, and ask himself the question as whether he has said something that make your mother upset. So the bell invited by one person may be practiced by everyone in the house. That is very nice. You are supporting your mother because she is practicing so that she have more peace. She restore her peace and her happiness. And then if you want to go and join her in the breathing room, you are welcome also. Or you can do your homework a little bit later. Now you begin to practice mindful walking to the breathing room. You open the door mindfully, without making noise. You step in mindfully, and you close the door behind you mindfully, and you find a cushion and you sit down by your mother, and you practice mindful breathing in and out. That is a very nice way to support your mother in her practice. She will be grateful to you. And these things are very beautiful. And all of us can do so. And by practicing like that, you can restore harmony, mutual understanding and happiness in the family. So everything that is practiced in plum village can be brought home. Like walking mindfully, breathing mindfully, listening to the bell, beginning anew, using loving speech, using the techniques of listening deeply. I know young people sometimes they suffer a lot because they feel that their parents do not understand them. And they have the impression that parents don't suffer, only they who suffer. I mean the young people suffer. But if the young people know how to look deeply, they would know that their parents suffer a lot also. And because they don't understand the suffering of their father, their mother, that is why they continue to blame them. There is a frustration, there is anger in them. And if you are able to see these kind of things, you will stop blaming them for your suffering. If you are a good practitioner, you may like to come to your father and you practice mindful breathing and you sit down close to your father. You look into his face and you say something like this: "Daddy, I know that you have difficulties, that it has been very hard for you in the last few years, that you have suffered a lot, you have many difficulties. I know that I have not been able to help you to suffer less. And I have made the situation worse because of my reaction that is not very wise. I'm sorry." I want to understand your suffering, your difficulties. I want to love you. I want to make you happy. Because if I have made you unhappy, if I have made you suffer because I do not understand your suffering, your difficulties. So I would like now to listen to you. Please, Daddy, tell me what is in your heart. Of course, I have made many mistakes, and if you tell me, I will know how to stop repeating these kind of mistakes. And if the young people can say things like that, it means that they are using loving speech. Loving speech. And loving speech has the capacity of opening the heart of the other person. Sometimes they suffer so much they have closed their heart. You cannot open the door of their heart anymore. But if you know how to use a loving speech, you can open his heart again, her heart again. And then when he or she open the heart and begin to tell you of their difficulties, of their suffering, then you have to be very attentive. You have to use a loving speech, deep listening. You have to practice deep listening in order to help him or her to empty their heart. This is a very wonderful practice. In the Buddhist tradition, we know a bodhisattva who has the capacity of listening with compassion, listening deeply. That is Quan Bhotat, the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. And although you are a young person, you can do like her, the Bodhisattva. You listen to your father, you listen to your mother, or your big brother or sisters, in order to try to understand their suffering, their difficulties. You are a Bodhisattva. You are using the practice of deep listening, compassionate listening. And if you can listen to him or to her for 1 hour, he or she will suffer much less. Don't think that you are still very young, you cannot do that. No, you can very well do that. And for those who are fathers and mothers, of course, they can listen to their sons and daughters in the same way. Because although their children are still very young, but they have already suffered a lot. That is why the father has to find time to sit with the son or the daughter. The mother has to find the time to sit with the son and the daughter. And she will use exactly the same kind of language. My son, I know that in the past year you have suffered a lot. I know. I have been so busy, I have not had a chance to speak to you, so I don't understand your difficulty, your suffering. So now, please tell me of your suffering, of your difficulties. I want to love you and to make you happy. In the past, I did not help you because I did not have the time, and then because I did not understand you. That is why I have said or I have done things that make you unhappy. I'm sorry. The father can say like that. The mother can say exactly like that also. And then their sons and their daughters will have an opportunity to empty their heart. And this is the practice that can restore communication in the family. So the practice of beginning anew in plum village is to restore, to keep communication open. And if you think that in your family communication has become difficult, the only way to restore communication is the practice of loving speech and the practice of deep listening. And while you are in plum village, you have to learn how to do it. You have to listen to other people in plum village. And if you master the techniques of listening deeply using loving speech, you might go home and succeed in helping your father, your mother, your son, your daughter. I have many young disciples who have been able to reconcile with their fathers and mothers. And I'm very proud of them. They will have a session of, they will sit with the young people. I don't know what time, but the time will be announced, and discuss with them about these kind of things during this week. Today the young people are requested to discuss about how to set up a breathing room when they go home, so that the whole family can might have a chance to practice mindful breathing together. And you might like to discuss whether you can do some of the things you see in plum village. That means at least to have a chance to eat a meal together each day. To have a time to sit down and listening to each other's one time every week. And I think while you are still in plum village, you can inquire more about these practices from the permanent residents, monastics and lay people. Because I want you to bring home some of these practices in order to improve the quality of life, of relationship in your family. So when the young people hear the small bell, they may like to stand up and bow and go out. Yesterday we have listened to the 4 exercises on mindful breathing concerning dealing with our body. And the first one is the first exercise is to identify our in-breath as in-breath and our out-breath as out-breath. And the second exercise is to follow the in-breath and the out-breath all the way through. In, out. And the third exercise, this is the in-breath, this is the out-breath. The third exercise is to be aware of our body. When you practice mindful breathing, you create the energy of mindful breathing. And that energy is used in order to become aware of our body. Breathing in, I'm aware of the whole of my body. It's like a going home to your body. Recognize it as existing and embrace it tenderly with the energy of mindfulness breathing. It's kind of going home to the body. Because in our daily life, we may leave our body there, our mind wanders elsewhere, in the past, in the future, in our projects, in our anger and so on. So this is going home to the body. Recognize it, embrace it with loving kindness. And the fourth exercise is relaxing body. Allow the body to relax, removing the tension in the body. In one discourse called the contemplation of the body in the body, the Buddha proposed that after having recognized our body as a whole, we might begin to recognize every part of the body, allow it to relax and smile to it. He offered an example, a farmer who goes to the cellar and bring down a bag of seeds, and he opened one end of the bag and allow all the seeds in the bag to flow on the floor. And with eyes still in good condition, he recognized every kind of seed. This is a mung bean seeds, this is a kidney bean seeds, and so on. So when a practitioner in a lying position practice mindful breathing, he or she may pay attention to one part of the body, like breathing in, I am aware of my eyes. Breathing out, I smile to my eyes. And you go down. My brain, my ear, my shoulder, and you continue to be aware of each part of your body. Allow it to relax and smile to it. It is like a scanning the body with the ray of mindfulness. And of course, during that time, you allow yourself to relax totally. And when you come to a part of your body that is aging, that does not function well, you may like to stay a little bit longer. Embracing that part of your body with mindfulness, loving kindness, and that will help that part of your body to heal more quickly. Of course, you may continue to use the medicine, but with this practice of holding mindfully the part of the body that is suffering, will help that part of the body to recover, to heal more quickly. And it is possible to practice deep total relaxation every day in your home or even in the workplace. If you have 15 minutes of break or half an hour of break, and then you may on the grass, on the floor, practice total deep relaxation. If you have participated in a session of total relaxation led by Sister Chen Khong, you know that that practice help renew your body. And you might like to get a tape of about total relaxation, deep relaxation to use at home. And when you know how to do it by yourself, you can give the tape away for another person and just lead the total relaxation in your family. In the living room or even in your bed, you can practice deep total relaxation. And if you manage to practice total relaxation once a day, you'll be free from stress, pressure. And we also can invite the young people in the family to join the session of total relaxation. When you go through the 16 exercise of mindful breathing, you see how compassionate the Buddha is. He understands human beings very well with their suffering. So all these exercises are still very up to date after 2,600 years, are very relevant to our society. And each of us can learn and apply to our daily life. When we come to the fifth exercise, we begin to step into the realm of feelings. Because these first four exercises deal with the body. And the next five will deal with the feelings. And the fifth is to bring joy into your body, into yourself. Bringing joy. Feeling joy. The sixth, feeling happy, feeling happiness. The seventh is aware, recognize. Aware of painful feeling. And the eighth is to bring relief. To painful feeling. When you observe, you see that the 7 and the 8 are equivalent to the 3 and the 4, the third and the fourth. With the third exercise, you become aware of your body. And with the fourth exercise, you bring relief you bring relaxation to your body. In the realm of feeling, you do very much the same. On the 7th, you become aware of the painful feeling that is in you. And with the 8th exercise, you embrace that feeling, and you bring transformation, you bring relief to that feeling. Here it is body, here is the feeling, but the method is the same. Using the energy of mindfulness to recognize the feeling. Not fighting, not suppressing, recognizing, embracing. And using the energy of mindfulness in order to bring a relief to that feeling. Exactly like in a field of, in the realm of the body. So it repeats itself. But before you do that, you learn to do this first. Because if you are able to bring some joy and some happiness into yourself, you do this better. Because the pain, the sorrow in us, sometimes they accept to sleep, to be in a sleeping mood. We have blocks of pain and sorrow and despair, anguish, but they are not always active. Sometimes they are in a sleeping state, dorming. In Buddhist psychology, we speak of consciousness of having at least 2 layers. The lower layer of consciousness is called store consciousness. And the upper layer of store of consciousness is called mind consciousness. Mind consciousness, store consciousness. There are seeds. Store consciousness is like the soil that maintain the existence of the seeds. This is a Buddhist term, bija in Sanskrit. It means seeds. We have a seed of anger in our store consciousness. But that seed of anger may accept to be quiet at the moment. And when it is sleeping quietly down there, we may have a good time, we may smile, we may have fun. But that does not mean that the seed of anger does not exist. It is always there. And every time someone come and touch it, say something and does something, and then that seed wake up and manifest itself on the level of mind consciousness. But for the time being, it is still sleeping down there. We have also beautiful seeds like the seed of forgiveness, the seed of joy, the seed of understanding. And if we know how to practice, we will touch them and help them to come up and manifest on the level of mind consciousness. But we will speak about that a little bit later. Now we are thinking of the seed of pain and sorrow that are in us, but they are in a dormant state. And when they do not function, when they have not manifested up here in the level of mind consciousness, we can practice the 5th and the 6th exercises. We have to profit from these moments in order to practice, bringing into us elements of joy and happiness. And that is the first aspect of the practice. With mindfulness, we get in touch with the wonders of life that are available in the present moment. The Pure Land of the Buddha, the Kingdom of God, the blue sky, the bird song, the beautiful sunrise, and so on. And with mindfulness, we are able to be in the here and the now, and being in touch with the wonders of life that are refreshing and healing. And that is why that aspect of the practice is to nourish us with the feeling of joy, the feeling of happiness. Mindful breathing, mindful walking, drinking your tea, doing your dishes. All these kind of practice can bring you happiness and joy. There's a little difference between joy and happiness. There is still expectation and excitement in joy. But in true happiness, there is no longer any excitement and expectation. In the Buddhist literature, there is an example that can illustrate the difference between joy and happiness. Someone who walks in the desert, who is very thirsty, very, very thirsty. And suddenly he finds an oasis in front of him, and there must be a stream of water, a lake, something like that, in the oasis. And he knows that in 15 minutes he will arrive at the oasis, and he will have the pleasure of drinking the water and sitting in the shade of the trees. So that is a joy. That is joy. There is excitement, there is hope, there is expectation. But when he stepped into the oasis and he kneel down near the pond of water and scoop the water and drink, he's feeling not joy but happiness. And many people mix up the two things. And when you practice mindful breathing in, you don't expect anything. You don't have to hope for anything because you are really breathing in. And the time you breathe in, it is possible for you to feel happy. Because breathing in can provide you with happiness. Breathing in can be very pleasant. Imagine you have asthma. You cannot breathe freely. You are allergic to the pollen. You cannot breathe freely. But now you don't have these kind of obstacles. The air is pure. And you don't have to worry about anything. You just enjoy breathing in. I breathe in, I feel alive. And breathing in can be very, very pleasant. So, practitioner should know the art of nourishing themselves with joy and happiness, even if they still have blocks of suffering within them. And when these blocks of suffering consent to sleep quietly down there, well, what we should do is to create feelings of joy and happiness, because we need them in order to be able to do the things, the difficult things, a little bit later. It's like when you go to when you are hospitalized, and if the doctor think that you have to go through a surgery, and he will examine whether you are strong enough to support the surgery. If you are not strong enough, and then you have to wait, and they have to feed you to make you stronger before you go to surgery. This is the same. And that is why when there are moments of I call it the moment of ceasefire, when the block of suffering do not disturb you too much, there is a ceasefire, and then you have to profit from the ceasefire in order to do this. You be stronger in order to handle the suffering later. Suppose there is someone who is on the verge of despair. She knows that alone she cannot survive. She's going down, and she has a friend who lives very far away, and she feels that if now she has an opportunity to sit down close to her friend, then she'll be able to survive. Because her friend is a big support for her. She has lost her balance, and she cannot survive. And in order to restore the balance, she should have that friend sitting close to her as a support. So even if the friend lives very far away, she has to go to her. And when she sits down close to that friend, she feels that she can survive. The balance has been restored. But she knows that she cannot sit with her friend forever. She only can afford to go there for three weeks. And she can survive 3 weeks. And that is why she knows that during the time 3 weeks, she has to practice in somehow, so that when she goes home to Europe, she can continue to survive. You see? So taking advantage of the ceasefire, of the balance, in order to get stronger is very important. Every step you make, every breath you take, every cup of tea you take, every friend you talk to should be an opportunity for you to bring into yourself a little bit more of joy and of happiness. When you see this exercise of mindful breathing in their order, you see the Buddha's mind. You see how he understands the human conditions. So when the painful feeling arises, manifests, like despair, like anger, and if you are not a practitioner, you allow that energy of despair, of anger to take hold of you, and you become a victim. And you can make people around you suffer. But if you are a practitioner, and then you know what to do when the suffering has manifest, you invite the energy of mindfulness to come up, because you have a seed of mindfulness. You are a practitioner, and therefore the seed of mindfulness in you is more important than the seed of mindfulness of someone who has not practiced. If you practice mindful breathing, mindful walking for 3 days, and then the seed of mindfulness in you is stronger, much stronger than 3 days before. And if you practice for 2 weeks or 5 weeks, the seed of mindfulness in you become even stronger. And every time you need it, it will provide you with the energy of mindfulness right away. So you come home to your breath, practice mindful breathing, practice mindful walking, and there the second energy, the second zone of energy will be manifested. So anger or despair is energy number 1, and mindfulness is energy number 2. And when you practice mindful breathing or mindful walking to generate this energy number 2, you do not have the intention to combat, to suppress, to fight the energy number 1. You practice the 7th exercise, just recognizing, become aware of the sorrow, the pain that has manifested. Breathing in, I'm aware of the anger in me. Breathing in, I'm aware of the energy of despair in me. So there are 2 kinds of energies. The energy of mindfulness, recognizing and embracing the energy of despair. There's no fighting. Just recognition. And this is the 7th exercise proposed by the Buddha, helping us to recognize the heart, the unpleasant feeling that is now in ourselves. You don't say anything, you don't do anything, just recognize and embrace that feeling with the energy of mindfulness. And that is why the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking, mindful cooking, mindful driving is very important, because it helps your mindfulness to be strong. You will need that mindfulness in order to recognize, embrace the pain, the sorrow in you. If you are a beginner, your mindfulness may not be strong enough to embrace your pain. And you may be overwhelmed by your pain, your sorrow. But if you live within a community, you may like to ask a brother in a practice or sister in a practice to sit down with you. And that person will lend you his or her mindfulness. Brother, don't be afraid. I am sitting close to you. I will help you hold your pain, your sorrow. Let us breathe together. So you can offer your mindfulness to you can offer your mindfulness and helping the other person to be strong enough to recognize and to hold her pain, her sorrow. The Sangha the community of practice is like a boat. You know, if you throw a rock into the river, it will sink. But if you have a boat, you can keep tons of rocks floating. So if you know how to take refuge in the Sangha, you would not sink into the river of suffering. You will float. And that is why when you come to the Sangha, you say, "Dear Sangha, here is my pain. Please help embrace it." You entrust your pain to the Sangha. And the Sangha, with its powerful collective energy, will help recognize and embrace your pain. And that is why to have a Sangha is a very good thing. And if you don't have a Sangha, you have to find a Sangha, you have to build a Sangha. It's very important. In the Sangha, there are brothers and sisters in the practice that can support you, that can lend you their energy of mindfulness, so that you might be able to float on the river of suffering. And you allow yourself to be a drop of water in a river, and you become the river, and you are much stronger as a river than as a drop of water. And living in the Sangha, you allow yourself to become the Sangha, and you profit all the energy, the collective energy of the Sangha. And that is the meaning of taking refuge in the Sangha. Taking refuge in the Sangha is not a matter of faith, of belief. Taking refuge in the Sangha is a practice. With your mindfulness and concentration powerful enough, you can hold the block of pain within you. And transformation and healing will be the result. Because mindfulness and concentration help you to focus, to understand, to get the insight concerning the pain, the sorrow in you. And that insight will help liberate you from that pain and that sorrow. Of course, the 8th exercise is to help you to bring relief to the painful feeling only, because there are other exercises that follow that will help you to transform entirely the block of pain and sorrow in you. If we are not a practitioner, we will practice otherwise. The blocks of pains are too important here. And we know that if you allow them to come up, to emerge, and then we have to suffer a lot. That is why unconsciously we set up a kind of obstacle here, embargo here, in order to prevent this block of suffering to come up. The majority of us would do like this. In order for these blocks of pain and sorrow not to come up, we try to fill the mind consciousness with other objects. We read a book, we watch television, we conduct a conversation, we keep the mind consciousness busy so that the blocks of pain and sorrow here won't have a time machine to emerge. Most of the people in society practice that way. They have blocks of pain and sorrow down there, but they try to suppress them by filling up the mind consciousness so that mind consciousness is always busy for the blocks of pain having no chance to come up. But during the night when you sleep, they used to come up. And that is why for these people the night is much more difficult than the day. And when you try to suppress these blocks of sufferings, you create a situation of bad circulation of the psyche. And after some time, symptoms of mental illness begin to appear. It is the situation of our body. If the blood does not circulate well, and then there will be painful spot on our body. So the same thing is true with our consciousness. If you block the way of the mental formations, this is called these are seeds that when they emerge, they become mental formations, and they go down again. When the pain manifests, you embrace it with mindfulness, and after that the pain will go down to the original spot. So there is a circulation. But here you don't allow the pain and the sorrow to come up, because you keep mind consciousness busy. And that is why the situation is the situation of bad circulation, and that is why symptoms of mental illness begin to appear in the body. First, you have headache, you have pain, and when the doctor examines, they don't see the cause, because the cause is in the consciousness. And that is why we have to remove the barrier. We have to allow the pain to come up. And if you dare to do so, because you know the practice, you know how to invite the seed of mindfulness to come and to take care. And those of us who know the practice, we are confident. We know that after some time being embraced by mind consciousness, our pain and our sorrow, our pain, taking a bath of mindfulness. And after having taken a bath of mindfulness, they come home weaker, always like that. And if you can, you know how to embrace them tenderly for a long time, they will lose more of their strength, always like that. And if you know how to do that with all kind of pain and sorrow from down here, you will create a situation of good circulation. And after a few weeks, the symptoms of mental illness will disappear. And that is possible only when you know how to do this. Using mindfulness in order to become aware of your painful feeling, of your sorrow. You don't fight. You recognize, you embrace, and you bring relief. So practitioners, they don't do like other people. They don't bring guests from outside like a television program, a magazine, a conversation, a book, in order to occupy the whole of mind consciousness, preventing what is there down there to come up. Because they are equipped with the energy of mindfulness, they are no longer afraid of receiving them. And that is why daily practice of mindfulness, of breathing, walking, cooking, washing is very important. Because they help the seed of mindfulness in us to be strong. And every time we need mindfulness, we just touch it, and then there we have a powerful zone of energy of mindfulness that are ready to recognize, embrace the pain and the sorrow. Ai là nói pháp thoại? The next talk will be in Vietnamese, given by thầy Vô Ngại, Brother Vô Ngại. Thank you.